The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media. Hello and welcome back to In Studio with Kimberly Lovey. I'm your host. So good to be here with you guys today. You guys, I have a humble brag today, okay? Your girl over here made it through 16, but who's counting? Yes, 16 days of spring break with my kids. Boom, mic drop. Now, that is a humble brag because I know most of you, one, only have 1 week of spring break, which we're going to talk about in a second, but also you haven't even hit your spring break yet. Why on earth does our school do it as early and as long is well beyond me. I have no idea. We're not near any of the holidays yet. It's not Easter. It's not Passover yet. Our kids have been off for 2 and almost 2.5 weeks, okay? Now, I don't know why they choose to make it so long. I'm thinking it's because they probably know their audience and they know at our school people like to travel. And so they're probably tired of getting like a flood of people saying, sorry, my kid's not going to be at school because we're still traveling. Maybe it's that. That's my guess. I don't know. Maybe the teachers just need a break. By the way, everybody knows, especially after COVID or just after any summer, any of these extended breaks, winter break, whatever the breaks are, we all just like love our teachers and appreciate them so much because, I don't know how they do it. But you know what? They love it and they're good at it and the kids love them. And my kids love their school and they love their teachers. And we're so grateful. So let me tell you a little bit about what we did because I have to say we had some big wins on our spring break. So first things first, we took our kids away. So I panic booked a trip because a week before spring break started, I was like, oh my God, this isn't even on my radar. My kids are going to be out of school on Friday. And it was like, literally not even a full week before. It was like Saturday or Sunday when I realized this. I had no plans. I immediately go on Amex and book a place that we've been wanting to go for a little while. And it is in Phoenix. So there's this JW Marriott. It's called JW Marriott Desert Springs. And I've been wanting to go there, but between my mom's stuff and London just being really young, it wasn't the right time yet. And my friend Charlotte Smith, shout out Charlotte, she had told me about it and she sent me a picture and I was like, wait, this place looks dope. So it's like a nice JW Marriott, which is like good enough for me and Brian. And then, it's not like a Ritz-Carlton or a St. Regis, but like it's a nice enough, okay. And then it has these giant water slides for the big kids because Carter and Charlotte being 9 and 7.5, they're on a whole different track right now. Like they need entertainment, right? So I panic book it. I'm sure I paid like way more, because we go in March. We went in March, which is like the high season in Phoenix because it's like that's the best weather in Phoenix. So, and I booked it last minute. So I did not get a deal. I'm sure I failed at that, but I didn't even care. I was like, I will pay double willingly because I need to kill 3 days with my family. So let's talk about the length. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of my hot tips as we go because I feel like it's hard to nail the traveling with the family thing. And I definitely haven't nailed it like across the board, but I've got some good tips that I think are going to help you along. So, and some of my tips are not, these are not like obvious things. They're things that I figured out that I live and die by that I think everybody should be aware of. So starting with the length of your trip. Okay. When you're on a trip and you're in your last day or two and all you're thinking that last day or two is, gosh, I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to sleep in my own bed. You know how like that happens? Well, I realize that happens. And so now every single time we travel, I always am like, well, most people will spend X amount of days, or it sounds like we should do like 5 days there. And I'll like shorten the trip by like 2. So I always cut the trip shorter than you would normally, than like everybody else would say you should go for. So for example, if someone's like, oh, you need at least 7 days in Hawaii. It's like, no, bitch, we're going to leave on day 5 because those last 2 days dragging, like I'm not doing it. And I hate that feeling of like wishing I was home and I'm in like a random place. Like, so I had traveled for about a decade when I was working as a management consultant. So I've like lived on the road. I know all about living on the road, and it loses its luster quick. Even if you are staying at the Ritz or the St. Regis or the Four Seasons or wherever you are, it doesn't matter. It's not your home, and therefore it's not as good. So, all that to say, for Phoenix, I was like 3 nights tops, 3 nights, 4 days, done. So, yeah, I also know that in terms of travel, like I don't like to have stress in terms of like making the flight and like rushing in the morning. So the old me, like when I used to go to Vegas with my girlfriends when we were in our 20s, it would be like, we're getting on a 7 a.m. flight, we're taking shots in the airport, we're downing beer, and we are gonna be like drunk in Vegas by 8:30 a.m. Done. And we would execute beautifully. But now your girl is an adult. We're adulting over here, sadly. And, just my husband's not a morning person. My daughter is not a morning person. And so I just don't want that stress of like everybody has to get up early, everyone rush. So what I do now is for my family is I book a flight time that is very comfortable and achievable and yet leaves some time during the day. So we did an 11 a.m. flight out of Burbank, which is our local commuting, spot. Thank God, like avoiding LAX as much as humanly possible because we live far from LAX now and it's just not necessary. It's just so much stress and all of that. So I will pay extra for a flight if I have to fly out of Burbank when I can, like for all of our regional travel. So yeah, 11 a.m. out of Southwest. And I also realized that I am not the DIY girly, right? Like, I don't want to bring my own stroller or booster. No. And honestly speaking, I don't know how to do that stuff on an Uber, how to like request a car seat. Like, I don't know. I'm not like, that's not my journey. So I call the hotel, I get their preferred service, and I book a car. We always have a car, and when you find a car service and a driver that you like, this is important. Like I did this in New Orleans for Super Bowl. I have it in Aspen. I have it in Park City. I didn't have a driver in Phoenix, but if you can get a good driver that like you know their name, like they're not a serial killer, it takes the guesswork and the stress out of your vacation. If you're like me and you're traveling with a big family, like it's not like I just have Carter and Charlotte. The whole thing is having the baby, and having the baby changes things because we have to have a bigger car. We have to have a car seat. It's just not as straightforward. So if you're in that kind of situation, then I don't know. I don't have the bandwidth. Like, I guess I'm lazy about it, but like, I don't have the bandwidth to schlep all my own equipment, and I don't have the bandwidth to like figure it out via Uber. Like, I just, here's an extra $100, So say what you will want to say, but Brian and I, we will pay for like just sanity. And I don't want to start adding logistical stress to my trip above and beyond what's already enough stress, like traveling with your family. So yes, if you are somebody like that, then I would say be careful that if you have a really good driver somewhere, keep their name, keep their contact, label it in your phone by city so that next time you're in Vegas, Aspen, Park City, wherever the hell you are, you have your go-to driver that you know is not a serial killer. You know that they're going to be a little bit more pricey than an Uber, but you're paying for just like reliability and like safety essentially, right? So that's what we do. We pay a fortune. Like, when they're really ripping you off. This car service ripped us off, and I was a little annoyed by it, but I was like, I'm booking this so last minute. I don't care. I can't sit here and like worry about this, right? So anyway, it worked out perfectly good. Like the guy was there. He met us at the baggage. He had texted us when we land. I love it when the driver's there early and they're like, hello, Mrs. Levy, we're here waiting at terminal blah, blah, blah. And like, they come out of the car and it's just nice. It's like, okay, good. Like, just having the kids is like stressful enough, and it's just nice to have a driver. That's the bottom line here. Okay, next subject. So we check our bags. There's no problems, thank God, with our bags, our luggage, no drama. You guys know from Aspen, we've been through the drama with the luggage thing. But anyway, needless to say, London did better this trip, and now it was only an hour in the air. Last time when we went to Park City, she gets on the plane and starts screaming, scary, scary, all done plane. And she starts wailing and like freaking out. Like she's aware enough because she's 3, like she's aware enough now where she gets like, we are in the air. This is not safe. And she does not like it. Like she does not, she is an uneasy traveler. She's a nervous flyer. And you know something? I can't blame her because I'm like, you're right. This is scary and it is crazy. And I'm not going to even talk about some of the disasters that have been going on in this space because that's just upsetting. And I'm not even trying to upset myself or you. But you get it. There is real risk. So when my daughter's sitting there like freaking out, I'm like, I get it, girl. Like you're not wrong. But it is my job as her mother to calm her down. And she did just fine on the way there. There was a little bit of nerves, a little bit of tears, but nothing remarkable. Thank God. Okay, great. So we get there. The hotel's only like 25 minutes away, which is great. And the hotel's big. Now, I will say, this is me being very particular. I know immediately if I like a hotel. I can tell by the second I pull up if I like it or not, and by the second I walk through the doors. And I did like it. I will say I did like it. It was a yes for me. But the first thing that I will say that was a hard no that I did not like, and this is me just being really nitpicky, is like I could tell that there had been smoke in this hotel before. And it's a very large hotel. There's like wings, there's like 5 wings of the hotel. So this is not a small boutique type property. Like this is like a very large property and it's very nice. But I pay attention to the smells because when I was in my 20s and we were building hotels at my first company, like we took meticulous time to figure out the correct hotel scent. So I know. So that was one thing I have to say was a strike. But we get there. There's not like a proper concierge either. So that's another kind of like, I don't love this. I usually like to work with a concierge on things, but they were able to just bring somebody it's like the acting concierge that comes, like when you go to check in, the woman comes and like talks to you. So that was fine. So anyway, they have 3 restaurants on site. So I'm immediately trying to figure out which restaurants we're going to go to. We have an upgraded suite because I booked through Amex. So they always like to upgrade you. This is important because when you have 3 kids, like the space and the logistics really matter. Like I have to have Carter and Charlotte in the front of like in a separate area than London because London's going to go to sleep early and the kids are going to stay up later. So I have to physically make sure there's enough room to separate them. So normally we'll get a crib in our room and then Carter and Charlotte will sleep on the pull-out couch and like the front. So we always get a suite. It's nice when they upgrade us. Thank you, Amex. You also get resort credit, all that stuff. Okay, great. So fine. So we start unpacking and we go down and it is like there is a lazy river. There are multiple pools. There's like, let's see, the lazy river, there's a main pool, there's a baby pool, and then there's the water slides. So however many pools, and there's a separate jacuzzi. So it's a large property. It's busy. There's a lot going on. There's kids playing flag football on the lawn. There's just a lot going on. There's fire pits places, things like that. The weather's in the 80s. It's great. But also you have to remember, London can't swim yet. So I'm sitting there very nervous, just like I'm nervous about my kids. And she hasn't started swim lessons. We didn't bring her floaties on purpose because they're so bulky. And this is me and Brian being me and Brian. We're like, we'll get goggles, we'll get floaties at the resort. Like we've already forgotten them enough times where now we're like, we might as well just buy them there for an extra $20 because it's just not even worth dealing with the inconvenience of having to travel with some of that stuff. So anyway, they don't have good floaties there. Really disappointing, but they had the old, the orange ones. Remember when you were like really young and your mom would put those on? Come on, 80s kids, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I like had flashbacks, like where you blow up each individual floaty and slide it on your arm. And then I remembered like how it hurts because it sticks to your skin and it hurts to like slide it off. I like remembered that when London was crying about it. Anyway, those damn floaties work just fine. Can I tell you? This child, she is up in the lazy river bopping and booping around. And they have the round, like whatever you call those, like tubes, the inner tubes or whatever. She doesn't want to sit in the inner tubes with her dad. No, she doesn't. She wants to free float around. And Brian figured out, oh, like the lazy river pushes her. She stays afloat. I'm next to her, like my hands practically on her, and she can just chill. That child did the lazy river probably, I kid you not, 50 times in our 3 days. Not even joking. She loved it. It was like, and the water was really warm. Okay, now the water slides are crazy. There were 3 of them. One of them, you go in a raft. It's a 2-person raft, so single file. So Carter and Charlotte. Now the bad thing is they're giant rafts, so you have to pick them up and then you have to go up the stairs because there's multiple stairs. Like these, the water slides are high up. So this is not your average little rinky-dink water slides. These are like legitimate water slides. So you're carrying this giant raft up, which was hard labor. So I didn't love that. I'm not going to lie. I was like, couldn't we have figured out like a better process to keep the rafts up here so that people don't have to like physically manually carry them? But anyway, one of the 3 slides is a raft where it's 2 people, and it was Charlotte and then Carter. The heavier person sits in the back. And it's like a big drop, and then you go like, I'll have to post the videos on Instagram, but like very legit water slides, okay? I was really nervous to go on them, I'm not gonna lie, and so was Carter and Charlotte, but I was like, you got it, kids. And anyway, of course, the kids did it a million times. I ended up going. Of course, Brian ends up going. I don't think I got maybe I got one video of me, but I got one of Brian for sure. And so, yeah, that was going on. Then they had 2 other water slides. One was enclosed with a big drop, and then one was like longer and darker, not as big. But at the end, you get like soaked. So your girl over here had gotten her hair done, her weave, where we got 22-inch extensions. That's right, down to our waist because we were bored of like being basic. And all I'm thinking is, why did I get my hair done like this? Because I don't want to get splashed. So of course I waited till the last day to go on the water slides because, strategically speaking, that was like the prudent thing to do. So I didn't have to deal with my 22-inch drama hair, rat's nest problem. So that was great. And then, yeah, I mean, we loved hanging out, but I was really nervous about London for a while. And then I finally kind of relaxed. So the seating situation there was a lot of different areas where you could like camp out and like select your lawn chairs. And there was like one area where it was like you have to rent each lawn chair for $100. I was like, that's ridiculous. So we went somewhere else, and that was fine. And then the last day, my husband's like, well, we really should get a cabana. So I go and I get like whatever the least expensive cabana is, which is still expensive, He hears about it. Oh no, I talked to them and I upgraded us, and we got the cabana with the room attached so that if London needs to take a nap or the kids need to take a break, we have our own wait staff. We have our own like couch and basically it's your own room essentially. And like it's a cabana outside, and then inside you have like a full room for yourself, like your own private bathroom, your own couch, your own TV. So I'm like yelling at him. I'm like, that's so unnecessary. We don't need to do that. Like, there's no point. You're just like wasting like this, but this is me. Like I grew up with nothing. So I always look at everything like I'm very frugal like that. I'm like, I know where to spend and I know where we don't need to, but he just, whatever. I lost the battle. Okay. So anyway, thank God for that thing. That was great, by the way. I was so happy that day that we had that damn cabana. It was so good, and it was worth the extra money. I have to say, we had our own it was infinitely easier with the baby. It was great. Okay, now the other important thing about the hotel I have to share, and this was something that is truly unique. Okay, this hotel knows your kids are going to get sunburned. They are going to get tired of the pool eventually. Eventually, they are going to want to do something else. Eventually. They had an activity every single day on the hour for the kids. And some of them happened every day, like were recurring. And some of them only happened on Mondays, only happened on Tuesdays. So we made our own candles the first day, me, London, and Charlotte. that was one break that we took. That was like an hour that we were able to kill. The second day, they went with their dad. Brian took them and they did like Build-A-Bear, where they were able to stuff their own, they pick out their own stuffed animal. They pick out a wardrobe for the stuffed animal and they do the stuffing, which is probably exactly what Build-A-Bear was. I never went there, but I mean, I went there, but I never did it. But anyway, they loved it. They made one for London, which was so cute. And then they fed the fish at the koi pond that day. And then the last day, our event was we made perfume. So they made their own scents, which was really cool because then they came home with like their own little like roll on perfume. And that was really neat. And then at night, one of the nights, I mean, I couldn't believe Brian did it with them, but they went, it was like from 7 to 9, I think. It was like after dinner, we were so tired. He takes them out and it was glow in the dark golfing. How cool is that? Oh, and there's an arcade there. I forgot to tell you. So that's what I'm saying. This hotel was pretty rad in terms of like keeping your, especially older kids busy, which I think is always like the big challenge when you're on vacation is like, how do we tire? It's like us versus them. How do we exhaust our kids and expend all their energy so that they collapse at the end of the night, as opposed to coming home early and being like, I'm bored, now what? And you're like, now what? We just had a 10-hour day. I'm exhausted. So anyway, the hotel was pretty clutch. We didn't leave it. We had 3 dinners. London fell asleep one night at the dinner table. I did not realize this until the morning we left. When we're on the plane, I realized, I'm like, does she feel a little warm? And I didn't know. Anyway, yeah, she ended up being sick with a double ear infection. Poor thing was like doing the most and was just run ragged. But anyway, she did get a little bit sick, but she was fine. I mean, you know, at that age, they get her pacifiers falling on the ground and she's picking it up, putting it in her mouth, and like, I'm letting her like drag it all over the place because I'm like, whatever I can do to survive this trip so that it's like as peaceful as possible is what we're going to do. But yeah, I mean, there was meltdowns during the dinners. We had some great dinners, by the way. The dinners were great. There's a full golf course there. Forgot to mention that to you. They have, I believe, tennis and pickleball courts there too. And but we had great food there. The kids ate, they were picky. They were a pain during dinner as usual. Like they weren't like wonderful. It was fine. Like we made it. It was fine. We did like 5 p.m. dinners, that whole thing. So overall, I would say it was a win. That trip was a good trip. And then on the way back to the airport, I did just call an Uber. And I just was like, I just got like what is it, like XL or whatever the Cadillac, same kind of car, way cheaper. London didn't have a car seat. Don't report me. Yeah. But anyway, so that was really that trip. It was great on the way back because I was like, London's going to freak out. Oh, there was one other little slightly bougie part, which was we arrived at the airport in Phoenix and a guy that like drives around the shuttle within the airport was like, oh, are you guys Amex card holders? And we're like, yeah. He's like, oh, let me take you to the lounge. You have 2 hours till your flight. We're like, okay. So he like puts us on the cart and he like speeds us through the terminal to, because like the lounge was at Terminal D and we were at Terminal A or whatever it was. And anyway, so he's like, oh, VIP is coming through. I'm like, this is embarrassing. But the kids were having a ball because he's like speeding through. So we go to the lounge and it's great. It's just great because there's more food, there's bathrooms, there's, phone chargers easily accessible. There's cookies. The kids were loving it. It was great. So we did that. There was one really nice man. This was so sweet. I like literally started to cry. He was like a single, or I don't know if he was single, but he was sitting next to us. He was by himself. And, our kids are in the lounge and we're trying to make sure that they're like polite and like not rambunctious because a lot of these people, they're like on business travel and they're in the lounge because like they're working or they like need a minute or whatever. Maybe they're on a conference call. Who knows? So we're like trying to be respectful. But like, we have 3 kids. They're probably being annoying to our neighbors, right? And so this guy was leaving and he's like, I just want to tell you, you have such a beautiful family. Because at first, as he started talking, get up, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I hope that, we weren't irritating to you at all. And he's like, oh no, I was actually coming over to just let you know you have such a wonderful family or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. It was so nice. Oh, there was another couple there that they were like giggling. They were like all cute and canoodling and cuddling and like being all cute. And then they were like, yeah, they were laughing because they see me and Brian. Brian sat down with the kids like at one table, and then I went and promptly was like, okay, I guess that means I get to sit over here. And I sat away from them, and the couple starts busting up. They're like, we see what you just did. And then they're like, yeah, we left our kids at home. And I was like, enjoy that, you know? And I was like, yeah, hang out with us for 3 minutes. Like when you start missing your kids, just like hang out with us for 3 minutes and you'll like remember that like you're lucky to have some quiet time. They were giggling. So that was cute. But anyway, it was a lovely trip overall. It was a big win. That hotel was great. It wasn't super, super fancy, but it was very nice and I would recommend it. And I think we will go back. I will say, I think we're going to go back to that hotel. Okay. The second big win of spring break was we are members of a country club, okay? And they will some years they'll have a spring break camp, and then this year they didn't, and they're like it's cuz the schools like have so many different like they're the spring breaks of all the schools for our members are like all over the place. So, we're not going to do it this year cuz like we don't know if we're going to have enough kids. And I was like, is there any way you can? And so it turns out that me and Liat end up getting, so selfishly, I wanted the kids to come because I needed to babysit them. I have nowhere to put my kids and I need to exhaust them. And yet I want to play tennis. So I asked Karen, the head of our tennis program, I was like, can we get the kids in a pickleball lesson while I play tennis? And then anyway, one thing led to the next, and she ends up doing a private tennis camp just for our kids' school, for like our friends. We got 17 kids in the tennis camp on Tuesday, and then Thursday, so this is the second week of our spring break, right? We had already done our trip. Now we're back. Then the Thursday, because we're like, oh, we'll see how it goes. Like maybe we'll do Thursday. All the parents were like raving. They're like, my kid had the best time. Like, are you guys going to do it again this week? Are you going to do Thursday? And we're like, okay, I guess so. And our kids loved it. They had so much fun. So we send them all Thursday. They had 20 kids on Thursday. And the kids played pickleball, tennis, soccer. They had lunch. I don't know what else they were doing. They were doing, tug of war, capture the flag, whatever they came home tired. That's the bottom line. And then on Thursday, one thing led to the next, but like I ended up taking some of Carter's friends in the morning and then taking them home because, these parents are working too. And I was just like, okay, I'm not going to be able to work like obviously today. So like I might be able to for like an hour, but like anyway, somehow I end up with like 8 kids at my house between Carter and Charlotte's friends, which they were thrilled. Like our kids were begging to see their friends and to do play dates. And I couldn't figure out like what's the best way to do it, but it worked out. They all ended up going to tennis camp. Then they all came back to our house. It was a blast. Now it was too cold for swimming during our spring break. So good thing we had already done it in Phoenix. Oh yeah. Also, by the way, in Phoenix, my kids got like sun rash, I think, or whatever, or like heat rash. And they started to have like bumps on their skin. So the last day we ended up not even going in the pool at all. And I ended up spending like most of the time packing. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk to you guys about the packing thing real quick. I'm such a nut job that I dump out everyone's suitcases and I just start from the beginning. And I'll separate like the dirty clothes with like, one of the bags, like the plastic bags that are in the closet in the hotel. And like, or I'll like put it in like a different pocket. So like really dirty, like socks and underwear, stuff like that, I'll like separate completely. But then I repack all of the clean and dirty clothes and fold it so that it like can, just so that I just can't, like this idea of like shoving stuff in a suitcase, like is just, I can't do it. So I don't know. Am I the only one that does that? Because I'm pretty sure that I'm like a lunatic, that the fact that I unpack and repack every single kid and every single one of us and refold every single item like a psychopath. And then I come home and we dump every single thing in the washer, whether it's clean or dirty. Psycho, right? Just a little bit psycho. Side note on that. But anyway, it was a good time. We had a great break, but like, it's hard to be the stay-at-home mom and the working mom. Like I'm really in the throes of my business right now. And so like, It was very stressful for me to be home. I don't have any help. I am babysitting my kids for 16 days. I'm trying to be present with them. I'm trying to run client stuff. Thank God I have the best clients in the world. Like they're all patient and like gave me some grace. But like honestly, today getting them back to school, I was like, thank God. Like we made it. Yesterday, Carter had flag football. Charlotte had a birthday party. Oh, I went to MJ's, Mercedes from Shells of Sunset. She's I launched her and Liat's podcast, Heal to Feel. If you guys don't know about that, I'll tell you guys more about it on another pod. But so we went to MJ's son's birthday party. And we just had it was crazy. Yesterday was insane. One's in Century City. I'm in Sun Valley. One's in Calabasas. Like everybody's everywhere. I started off the morning going to my studio. I had taken a meeting before that. Then I took another meeting at my studio. Then my construction team came to my house for a planning meeting. It was just like, it's just like a lot. There's just a lot going on all the time. Which I'm not complaining about. I'm just saying it's just a lot. And it's hard for me to be like fully relaxed with my kids sometimes when I'm like trying to also navigate all this stuff with work and like my clients. And it's like not their fault. I have other commitments and things on my plate. So, just trying to keep all the balls in the air, that kind of thing. But overall, yeah, we're doing really well. That's my spring break. I hope you guys have a wonderful spring break with your kids and your families. I really do. I have to tell you, I'm getting really, really excited about things coming up that I can't wait to share with you guys more and more of. But just introducing you to more of my team members. I'm going to be changing and doing different segments on this show. And it's going to be the same, but like just a little bit more like structured, a little bit more like not like formal, not like, oh my God, structured, boring, we're going to school. Not like that. Just like more recurring segments, things like that. Consistent content, branded content, things that need to be done. There's just so much to share. So I'm not going to continue today. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being patient, for listening. I hope this was interesting and fun for you. And I love you to pieces, and I'll talk to you next time. All right. That is it for today. Thank you very much for listening, and be sure to follow us at Iconic Nation Media and send us a direct message and comment on some of our posts so that we can hear your feedback and incorporate them into our show. We appreciate you listening, and we look forward to catching you next week.